Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're not just talking about going places, we're taking a full-blown journey into the heart of travel itself.
Into what makes us want to pack up and go, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why we hit the road or jump on a plane.
Sounds fascinating.
Our sources for this are really interesting. We've got this great English dialogue, a couple getting ready for a trip, very relatable stuff.
Okay.
And we've combined that with a broader look at the whole travel experience, why it's so much more than just, seeing sights.
So it's about the journey, not just the destination cliche, but really digging into that.
Precisely. Our mission is to unpack why travel feels so profound, how it's about discovery, growth, connection. From that first moment, you start packing right through to the memories that stick with you.
Right, the whole arc.
So whether you're planning your next big trip or just curious about that travel bug, okay, let's unpack this.
We'll do it.
We can start with something super familiar.
Yeah.
Just getting ready for a trip.
That pre-trip ritual.
Yeah, and specifically, let's focus on the classic road trip. It popped up a lot in the source material, especially for North America.
It's definitely a big thing here.
And the source gave such great examples of how different they can be, like family camping trips way up in northern Canada.
Sounds intense. Lots of packing for that, I bet.
Right, compared to, say, friends doing a quick 8-hour drive to Las Vegas.
Totally different energy, different packing list too.
It really shows the spectrum of what road trip even means.
It absolutely does. And that whole getting ready part, people often see it as just a chore.
Yeah, gotta get it done.
But the sources suggest it's actually a really key part of the adventure itself.
How so?
Well, it's not just about making sure you have socks. It's about setting yourself up mentally and practically for a good trip.
Ah, okay. So good prep helps things go smoothly.
Exactly. It's not just avoiding problems, it's more like leaning into the anticipation, getting ready to embrace whatever happens.
That makes sense. And that prep definitely has its own language, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
The dialogue we looked at had some great examples, like the car is packed. It's more than just stuff is in the car.
Yeah.
It has that feeling of finality, completion.
Yes, that satisfying click like, okay, now we're ready.
And essential for any road trip. Munchies.
Non-negotiable.
It's not just snacks, is it? It's specific.
Yeah.
Chips, cookies, chocolate bars.
The good stuff. The comfort food for the journey. Almost as vital as gas.
Speaking of which, fill up the tank. That last step before you pull away.
Another check mark on the mental list. Gotta do it.
And then, the famous pit stop.
Yes. Essential planning.
A quick break for gas, food, or, like in the dialogue, the bathroom someone almost forgot.
Always happens to someone.
Right. It's all part of that preparation phase.
It is. And connecting to that idea of being fully prepared, there's a great phrase from the source. We've got all our bases covered.
Ah, okay. Like in baseball.
Exactly. It means you've thought of everything. All the important details are handled. No big surprises, hopefully.
So for the trip, it means you have the map, the snacks, the gas.
Pretty much. But what's interesting is how versatile it is. The source notes you could use it for, say, hurricane preparedness.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
Or for making sure a business plan, like a marketing plan, is totally ready just means thorough preparation.
I like that. Taking an idiom and seeing how widely it applies. And once all the bases are covered, you get that feeling, let's get going.
Yep, time to start.
It's simple, direct. But the source material showed something cool about changing just one word.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's get cooking. Doesn't mean food necessarily. It means let's start working energetically.
Right, start the task.
Or let's get out of here.
Yeah.
That implies urgency.
Maybe escaping something.
Or let's get down to business. That signals it's time for serious work.
It's amazing how one little verb changes the whole vibe, shows the nuance in everyday language.
Definitely.
And that kind of leads into something else. The dialogue showed, these fluency builders.
Fluency builders. Okay, tell me more.
Well, instead of saying something basic like, can we go now? Or it is ready.
Which sound maybe a bit blunt or formal.
Exactly. The dialogue used phrases like, are we all ready to go?
Ah, okay. Sounds more natural.
And it's all set. They just flow better in conversation for a native speaker.
Makes the interaction smoother, more authentic.
Precisely, like we heard in that couple's chat.
Okay, so the car's packed, the language is set.
Yeah.
But once you actually start the journey, something deeper begins to unfold, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's where it gets really interesting.
We focus so much on the packing list, the logistics. But our sources hint travel is more than just luggage and snacks.
Yeah.
What really starts the moment we decide to go.
That's the core of it. The sources really emphasize that travel is Well, it's more than a holiday. It's a shift in perspective.
How so?
It literally pulls you out of your everyday life, your routine. It challenges your assumptions, makes you see the world and maybe yourself differently.
Through fresh eyes.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's not just about checking off famous places. It's a process. Learning, growing, connecting.
Connecting with what? Or who?
With the world, really. Think about diving into new cultures, new traditions. The source material talks about the sheer diversity.
Right.
And how people greet each other, a handshake, a bow, a hug, or in food, music, language, just daily habits.
All those little differences.
And seeing that diversity isn't just, interesting, it actually expands your thinking, makes you more flexible mentally. You appreciate the huge range of human experience.
And the food, you mentioned food, that's always a big one for me.
Oh, definitely. The sources frame trying local food as a direct gateway to understanding a culture's history and values.
More than just eating.
Much more. Think about pasta in Italy, sushi in Japan, tacos in Mexico, curries in India. Each dish has a story, right?
New flavors, new ingredients. It expands your palate, definitely.
And your understanding. Language, too, is key.
Even just learning a few words.
Absolutely. Simple things like hello, thank you, goodbye, show respect. They open doors.
And for some people, travel is how they really learn a language, right? Not just textbooks.
Exactly. Those real-world conversations, they make you learn in a practical way that theory just can't replicate.
Makes sense.
And maybe the most powerful part is meeting people.
Locals. Other travelers.
Both. Locals give you that unfiltered view of their life, their traditions. Other travelers share their own stories, their perspectives.
You learn a lot that way.
You really do. The sources suggest these connections help you see the common ground, the shared hopes and dreams beneath the cultural differences.
That sounds pretty profound.
It is. And all this navigating unfamiliar places, trying new things, communicating across barriers, it builds you up.
Oh.
You gain confidence, independence. You get better at solving problems on the fly. You learn to adapt. Even exploring somewhere nearby can give you that little spark of adventure.
So it's not just about far-flung places.
Not at all. Ultimately, travel is defined in the research as this immersive learning experience. It broadens your mind, shifts your perspective, and creates memories that last a lifetime.
That's a really compelling case for the why. But the how matters too, right? The way we actually travel shapes the experience.
Completely. Each mode of transport tells a different story.
Okay, like what? Let's take flying.
Airplane travel often starts with that busy airport vibe, check-in, security lines, waiting at the gate. It's kind of structured chaos sometimes.
Definitely feels like that.
But then, once you're on the plane, especially a long flight, it becomes this unique bubble. Time to think, read, watch the clouds.
A sort of forced pause. Reflective time.
Exactly. Before you plunge into the new place. Train travel, though, is often about the journey itself being the view.
Right, watching the scenery roll down.
Yeah, it's usually more relaxed, maybe more comfortable. You can walk around, maybe eat in a dining car. It's a different pace.
And road trips, which we started with.
Those are all about freedom, aren't they? Stopping whenever you want, taking detours.
Discovering that random roadside diner or quirky shop.
Those unexpected gems. Buses can be great, too.
How so?
They're often affordable and give you this amazing ground-level view of daily life passing by. You really see the landscape change, see local communities up close.
Kind of an intimate perspective.
Yeah, and boats, well, they offer something else entirely. A peacefulness, maybe. A unique sense of adventure on the water.
So, very different feelings depending on how you go.
Very. But the common thread across all of them.
Let me guess. Meeting people.
You got it. Chance encounters. Chatting with the person next to you, getting tips from a local on the train. These interactions can turn a simple trip into something much richer.
It's true, the journey itself is rarely just neutral. It's full of its own feelings.
Definitely. And that mix of excitement and maybe a little nervousness.
And things go wrong sometimes, right? Delays, lost bags.
Always a possibility. But the sources, interestingly, frame those moments not just as hassles.
But as opportunities.
Sort of. Unexpected lessons in patience, maybe? Adaptability, you learn to roll with it.
Yeah, you have to.
And the journey itself, just observing the landscapes, the buildings, the people, that's a huge part of the experience. It's not just about getting from A to B.
It enriches the whole thing. Makes you appreciate the world's variety.
Exactly. It makes the journey much more than just travel time. It's part of the discovery.
And then you arrive. That moment, you step out into a completely new place.
Ah, yes. Unforgettable, usually.
All those new sights, sounds, smells hitting you at once. It's like sensory overload in the best way.
It really is. And those first few steps are crucial. First, finding where you're staying.
Which might involve figuring out taxis or subways or ride sharing in a language you barely know.
Right, an immediate test of your adaptability.
Then you drop your bags, step outside.
And that's when you really feel it. The atmosphere of the streets. Is it loud and chaotic? Quiet and calm? You start picking up the local rhythm.
And you probably start thinking about food pretty quickly.
Always. Trying local dishes is essential, like we said. Street food, little local restaurants.
Even just trying to order can be an adventure.
Absolutely. Part of the fun. And you know what else can be part of the adventure? Getting lost.
Huh. Usually feels stressful at first, though.
It can be. But the sources often frame it as, well, a chance for discovery. You stumble down a quiet alley, find a hidden courtyard, a charming cafe.
Things not in the guidebook.
Exactly. And it often forces you to interact, ask for directions.
Which leads to talking with locals.
Precisely. Chatting with shopkeepers, taxi drivers, people in cafes. They give you insights you just can't get otherwise. Real recommendations.
Beyond the tourist map.
Way beyond. Of course, all this requires adjustment, right? Patience and open mind.
For sure. New weather, time zones, when people eat, just daily habits.
We have to adapt.
I like that idea of getting lost being almost a strategy. Okay, so you're settled, you're oriented.
Yeah.
How do you really start exploring?
Well, there's often a mix. Many people want to see the famous landmarks, right? The Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum, temples in Kyoto.
Feel that connection to history or iconic status.
Exactly. But the sources really stress the importance of also just wandering into local neighborhoods.
Getting off the main tourist track.
Yeah, that's where you see authentic daily life. How people really live, shop, eat. You find those hidden gems.
And how you get around matters too, doesn't it?
Big time. Trying the local transport is part of the fun. Gondolas in Venice, rickshaws in India, bullet trains in Japan.
They're experiences in themselves, not just transport.
Totally. And don't forget nature. Visiting parks, mountains, lakes, beaches.
Hiking, maybe safari. Connecting with the natural environment too.
Right. Plus, actively participating in cultural things.
Like what?
Maybe seeing a dance performance, catching a local festival, taking an artisan workshop, or even doing a homestay for really deep immersion.
Wow, lots of layers to exploration.
It's multifaceted, and all along you're meeting people, taking photos, maybe keeping a journal, capturing those memories.
It's about actively engaging, not just passively seeing.
That's a great way to put it. Planned sites combined with spontaneous discovery.
Okay, but let's be real. Travel isn't always smooth sailing and amazing discoveries. Things go wrong.
Oh, absolutely. The sources are quite clear about the challenges. It's not all perfect Instagram moments.
Thank goodness for some honesty.
Right. But the interesting angle is framing these challenges not just as negatives, but as, well, opportunities again for growth, for creating memorable stories even.
Okay, so what are some common hurdles and how do they turn into lessons?
Well, the language barrier is a big one, obviously. Communication can be tough. Misunderstandings happen.
Can be frustrating or funny sometimes.
Both. But crucially, locals usually really appreciate it when you try to speak their language, even just a few words. It builds a bridge.
Turns a barrier into an interaction.
Exactly. Then there's getting lost, which we touched on. Initially annoying, maybe.
Definitely.
But it often leads to those unexpected finds or forces you to ask for help and have a nice interaction you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Okay, I can see that. What else?
Transportation issues, flight delays, canceled trains, crowded buses. They happen, for sure. But they teach patience, right?
Yeah.
And adaptability. Sometimes you end up making friends with fellow stranded travelers while you wait.
Silver linings, maybe?
Sometimes. Weather, too. A sudden storm ruins your beach plans.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
But it pushes you to improvise. Maybe you discover an amazing museum or spend a cozy afternoon in a cafe instead.
Finding alternatives.
Right. And then there are cultural differences. Things that seem normal to you might be different elsewhere. Gestures, clothing, taking shoes off, how you eat.
Gotta be mindful of that. Respectful.
Absolutely. Requires an open mind to avoid misunderstandings. Deepens your empathy, hopefully.
Practical stuff too, like money.
Yep. Currency exchange, budgeting, keeping track of expenses, having an emergency fund. It's all part of it.
Teaches you financial awareness, maybe? Problem solving on a budget?
It really can. And finally, health and safety. Basic stuff like having some medicine, staying hydrated, being aware of your surroundings.
Knowing about local risks like pickpockets?
Exactly. Doing a little research helps. But the point is, Overcoming these challenges, big or small, builds resilience.